Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great 78. My name is Zelda Kelly. I'm with PsychicSecrets.com, and this is where we go in deep, in depth, in complete context of the meanings of the 78 tarot cards. Last time we were here, we started with the Fool, and I will link the playlist up here so you don't miss a card. But today we've got our friend the Magician, and let's go over some of the elements of the Magician card. The key is the number 1. The color associated with this card is yellow, and they also say azure, which is like a mustardy color, yellow. The Hebrew letter is Beth, B-E-T-H. The meaning of that is a house or a temple. And you can see he's kind of in that little temple-y type area. The letter number associated with, though, is number 2. Now, that doesn't mean that that is the key, because the key on the Fool card is a 0. So that's the key, but the letter of this is a number 2. The astrological planet associated with this is Mercury, and this is an air sign card. And for a musical note, it is an E natural. So, with the Fool card being the first or the last, the Magician card is all about being the beginning and manifesting our internal visions. If you use the laws of attraction, this is the card. And we have another one too. The Empress card is very good at using these for laws of attraction. This card encourages us to practice creativity, to be creative, to grow things, to use a lot of our creativity to actually create our surroundings. And it encourages us to take on new projects, which is actually very good for a lot of people. So this tarot number 1 is the Roman numeral for number 1. And these are all in Roman numerals. You can see that and in the rest of the deck. And it is the number of new beginnings. And it is also the number of looking forward, of going forward. The Fool may be the first or the last, but the Magician is always the one that gives us a clean start for whatever we are looking into, for whatever journey that we're undertaking. Remember, this is a journey of the Fool. And he is starting this journey. This is the second card. This is what he meets up with in his journey. So whatever you're looking forward to, this is the next card. This also plays a theme in the cards for its shapes and matches, and it matches the wand, actually. And it is matching the wand that the Magician is holding up in the air. The wand is the starting of all will, and is the number 1 for all starting points. So that's pretty interesting, really, because we're tying in all of these numbers associated with this, and a beginning, and you starting your project, or even a beginning. So let's talk about how this Magician is standing. You can see that he's posing. He's got one hand pointing up to the sky and the other one pointing to the ground. That means that he is grounded. This pose is the union between the spiritual world and the material world below. The Magician is actually a creator, and he is working on or using the spiritual visions, and he uses the materials that he's given. So you see, there's the wand, the sword, the cup, and the pentacle. Even though he's holding a wand, that connects him first and foremost, and his will, to the spiritual above. This is pretty interesting. It is a reminder of the balance that we need in our lives when starting a new journey. And we shouldn't have it's a reminder for us that we shouldn't be actually focusing on the spiritual above or on the material below, that we need a centered balance. I like that. So we need that balance in order to achieve our goals. Now, we're going to talk about the wand held in the hand of the magician. And he is using that as a balance, to balance his pose, how he's standing. The wand has two identical poles, and they are joined together for a perfect union. It's through that harmony that the magician is okay, I'll talk today. He's able to create. So he has to create this balance in order to balance everything in life. That is our indication that when we pull this card, that we get this card, that this card can mean that we need balance. It is a given, actually, that we need balance. So now we're going to talk about this workbench. And the workbench emphasizes that this is definitely a craft of the magician. He needs this. It's his training place. And he also fails sometimes. We all fail in life, and the magician sometimes fails in a journey. So it actually also represents tradition, and a tradition of learning, a tradition of using the bench that he learns from. You can see it's standing right there. It reminds us that we need to have hard work and we don't give up when we're creating things. And when we see this magician, we should be reminded to practice our craft alongside these. Meaning, whatever project that you're getting into, you use the bench, and you can use all of these elements for your project or your journey. This is an excellent card because on this bench you see the wand right here, the sword, the cup, and the pentacle. It is all about the magician manifesting the dreams, the heart's desire, the goals, seeing your ideas blossom, just like these flowers down here. And that's also why these roses and flowers are blossoming and blooming all around him, because it's illustrating that even though there's a little bit of chaos in life and on the journey, we can and should take time to stop and smell the roses. And it can be a promise for the future, and it encourages us to continue on our journey. But back to these elements here, back to this sword, wand, pentacle, and cup. These are the suits of the minor arcana or arcana. They are the materials that the magician has to work with. These also represents the four elements, which are fire, wind, water, and earth. So it also represents the four aspects of our psyche, which is the will, the intellect, the feelings, and corporeal reality. That's the name of it, but basically is working all together is really what that means, because the magician creates anything that our imagination can come up with. And that is really a symbol in the laws of attraction as well. Whatever we can think of, we can achieve. That is a representation of this magician card. So let's talk about the red robe. That is the color of energy and passion. So when you pull this card, you can say that this person that is on this journey that maybe you're reading for, or even resonate for ourselves today while you're seeing this, has a lot of energy, has a lot of passion, and there's a lot of drive that you have and that the Magician card can create. This also reminds us of the emotions and the passion, and whatever project you're trying to manifest, it can basically say that you are dedicated, you are involved passionately in that project, in that creation. So the white tunic that he has on under the red robe, it symbolizes a unified paradox. It means that white is a combination of all colors and yet represents the blank slate. Now, that was the same in this Fool card. That's the sun being white, and even the little rose representing a blank slate, so that the Fool can move on in his journey. The same is with this white robe, with the Magician. I think this is very interesting. So it shows that a magician will always wear this white tunic in order to have an eye on the start of their project and one eye on the end of the project. So he's fully involved with all the elements, all the materials, his bench. Project is blooming. I think you now are starting to get the idea of this card, that it requires balance in everything that you're doing. It requires dedication, passion, and can even be love. The infinity symbol, I love this, up above his head. I know that you're able to see this. I like the look on his face too. It's just relaxed, determined. He knows exactly the path he's going to go on, but that infinity symbol represents an everlasting ability to have these attributes. This is like a halo, and it represents this magician's holiness and wisdom. And like the white tunic, it is a unified paradox, so it works all together. It is also a repetition of the beginning and the end. The infinity is the equilibrium of opposites. And that is what the magician requires in order to create or manifest or bring about anything that the magician will. Now, I think that this next part is pretty interesting about the girdle. Now, for some of you, you may not have realized, if this can stay focused, that that is actually a snake that is eating its own tail. It's also mimicking the infinity symbol up above. And it's also giving us the idea that the magician has the unlimited potential, the unlimited idea of the body, mind, the whole body working together as infinity in order to create and manifest. Both infinities are reiterated by the magician's pose, and both are required to create. So we need that infinity symbol up here, which is wisdom and holiness, and we need this infinity here, which is representative of the mind and the body. There's a lot to think of about this card, and a lot about the creation. But coming to the conclusion of these, which is still very interesting, when we talk about upright and reverse positions, so when you pull out the magician or you see the magician card, it is really an encouragement to continue to pursue the project or the goal or the heart's desire. You might be actually just now starting out using ideals of your own. And it's also an encouragement to take the leap and manifest your own project, your own vision. I love this because you can become the magician, and just like the laws of attraction, you can affirm and bring those visions and your heart's desire by using all of the elements. We were born with a spiritual DNA. This is representative of that. So it's basically encouraging us that we have the passion to succeed, and don't worry. Take the leap, move, go on. Our hard work and our vision will come to pass. And even in the middle of our hard work, if we decide that something is better, we have the wisdom to be able to deal with that as well. I love this card. Now, let's talk about the reverse meaning, or upside down, but this is considered a reverse meaning. And like I said before, I do not read reverse meanings. I feel that we've got a lot going on in our world, in our lives, and this, I think, compounds a lot of it, because we can actually see a lot of things that we need to address without being in reverse meanings. That's a personal preference. For those of you who do read reverse meanings, I respect your decision to do so. The reverse magician is telling you that even though you have a vision, that there is something standing in your way of it coming about. There's something prohibiting you from actually getting that vision. It also can be a reminder that you need to analyze yourself, analyze your project or your vision, and it actually is a reminder to sit and think what really brought you to this idea of your project or your vision. There's a lot of outside forces that will affect you. And when this turns upside down, it means that you need to just take a moment and reflect. And it means that there's factors that really, and that will be really determined about the other cards that surround this card, and will help you to overcome this. It basically says you have the skills, but you've got to figure things out, and you've got to reaffirm your decision and your vision. So that's not so bad. So this is a great card, and for your reading pleasure, I believe that you can now pull this out with confidence and read with confidence based on the other cards around. But if you pull this singly for a client or yourself, you know that you're on the right track, that you have to persevere. It's telling you to continue on, that you have everything that you have available to you to achieve your vision and your goals. I love the Magician, and I think this is a great card. Now, the next one in the Great 78 series will be the High Priestess. That's the number 2 up here, Roman numeral. We're going to get into the meanings of these 2 letters on these columns. And this is going to be a very interesting card. She's got a lot of elements here to talk about. You see that little wording there on her book. Let's see if we can turn that around so you can see what that says. We're going to get into this on the next Great 78. But I want to thank you so much, folks, for stopping by. It was my pleasure to bring this to you, and I hope that this has helped. You have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.